Okay, here's a new video I needed to talk about. It's positive in the nature of, very obviously, it's not a negative thing. This sort of strategy is a very good strategy. I enjoy the fact that that mod devs start taking their time now, especially with the way they structure it. Sorry, but let's talk about modern modding for a moment. So, back in the Wild West that was modding in the older days, we had a bunch of shorter mods. Definitely a bunch of shorter mods. So these mods each had their own style and the way they presented them. It was very much entirely based around being shorter. They didn't know or structure it to be too massive. But very obviously, over time, people wanted to make mods bigger from the start, or make more Gigunda-sized updates to mods. Now, over time, that has unfortunately caused issues, because some mods have now reached their 3 years since last playable content. And is that a massive leap. But we do have a glimmer of hope. But let's get this straight here. With mods back then, it was a straight shot. That's how you either updated or made your mod. It's a straight shot. That was your plan, was straight shot. You didn't update in waves. But we're now seeing this as a modern modding strategy. Technically, this idea of releasing stuff in waves has existed since Crunchin. Crunchin releases stuff in a certain wave basis. However, it's not always intentional. In fact, this recent update and the previous one are holdovers. That is a way you can treat updates, by the way. You can treat them as holdovers and just release updates as holdovers until and then keep working on the full build until everyone has to deal with, unless you have to deal with another holdover. But because of how modern modding works, where there's a lot more time that you have to dedicate for development rather than previous years, this modern modding strategy absolutely works. I like the wave strategy. Sonic Legacy was the one that was going to pioneer it. We don't know anymore, because they are way more silent than any other dev team. Hit Single does it somewhat, but it's they have this one big update plan, and I'm it's the holdover strategy is what it is. But yeah. And then you've got, well, FNF Weekly, the big proponent of it. It's in full plans, and it works insanely well worked insanely well for it. And then you have the mods that are upcoming. Mistral Crimson Morning is in the old modding strategy, but has the more demos are a semi-modern modding strategy. However, it's not fully, considering, yeah, some mods when they had to have demos, that's because they legitimately, their plan was a big thing, but they know they need to give people a taste instead of being hey, we've got a mod in development, it's gonna be massive, so therefore, we're not giving you anything. We're just expecting you to go along with us, which isn't a good idea. Thank goodness we have demos. But, yeah, FNF Weekly kind of showed that this sort of wave strategy can work for people. And so we're seeing it with Spooky Saturday Scare. It is going to be a wave strategy. Updog, aka versus Imposter Redux. I'm calling it Redux. It's a reboot of versus Imposter. It's going in the wave strategy. D-Sides Redux, yes, it's called Redux, is going in that strategy. B-Sides already kinda had that since they decided to do weeks 1, 2, and 7. But yeah, it's a off-on sort of deal. So I don't really call B-Sides Redux it. It may be not. We'll see. But it's cool. It's cool what they did, like, if they do. But yeah, Spooky Saturday Scare, D-Sides, Updog. Forgetting what else. Indie Cross feats. Indie Cross. FNF Indie Cross to be specific, because Indie Cross the series is different. But that's doing a modern modding strategy. But there's also another modern modding strategy, which is you plan the entire idea of the mod with a smaller scope than, like, say, this. Like, than, say, Indie Cross or Funkin' and Freddy's, where it's like, it's meant to be massive. Instead, it's a more compact package, and it's just like either it's one straight shot, or you are an update and you're doing it like this. But it's meant to be like one straight shot update that's smaller in comparison to the rest of the bigger mods, but it is a big mod in terms of what it's presenting, not how much it's presenting, if you get me. I do like these new strategies, because modern modding really does help for possibly getting more cool stuff from these devs, but do remind yourselves that it's like, yeah, modern modding has the issue now where the big shot stuff takes a lot longer than it used to. So you're not getting as much. Hence why the Hall of Fame starts becoming more barren. Starting last year. But yeah, we'll see with some of these mods, like, whether that just had demos and whatnot, if they adopt the full modern modding strategy, or if they go for a classic style, where they just work on the mod a bunch, and release all the content at once. Or you can meet in the middle, somewhat, and do the holdover strategy, which is still part of modern modding, but instead of being the, here's the waves strategy, it's, oh, here's something to hold you over, while we're trying to make sure we have enough content big enough for the big release. Which is a cool thing. I enjoy this nature of having to study modern modding as sort of an idea now. It's a fantastic strategy for these devs. But yeah, like, seriously. In overall summary, old modding was either, like, old modding was short to begin with, and then when updates came out, it's update all at once. It's one big swift shift. Modern modding can still have those shorter mods. So that's the thing that's like is the exact same. You can have a shorter mod and like, but there's like the bombastic mods with smaller scopes, or the bombastic mods that come out in waves, or the bombastic mods that have holdover periods where they give you content as a holdover. So yeah, it's like, old modding is just like one big Gigunda thing release. Whether it's an update or it's the full thing, and it's a massive mod. Modern modding is holdover, updates in waves, or smaller scope projects with the high quality of a larger scope project. Obviously, I would like to see certain other mods that that might reach 3 years and aren't for certain almost at their finish line adopt the strategy. Funkin' at Freddy's is definitely not one of them due to the nature of how it's being developed. Hotline 024 has certain things that make development time even longer. But it makes sense that they wouldn't adopt a modern modding strategy because it doesn't work that way for what they're planning. Sorry, edited at the end here, I forgot to talk about Monster of Monsters. I don't know if it's fully following a similar strategy. I do know it's updated in batches as well. But the way it works makes, like, yeah, shoot, it is updates in batches, I'm dumb. But the update, like, it is a modern modding strategy. However, with the nature of what they add, it's sort of a mix, because the full intention is to update in batches instead of having, like, every chapter unlocked from the start as, like, one big update. They make sure you play each chapter, each update. But the scope of each update depends on how much they want to add that's bonus, and or, like, how much they want to have within the playable content in the map. Like, how much they want to do is purely dependent on them. So that's the only thing I wanted to add. Sorry. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment if you wish. I wanted to break it down, especially because it's a cool new thing, and people need to understand, now that mod development takes a certain longer amount of time, if they want to do the older style, this modern modding strategy should really freaking help. So yeah, bye!